Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Dorji. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, Padma Kumara. And the Bao Yi youth and the Bao Sang youth. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are very simple, only three. The Madam wife to the Ambassador Daniel Liao, the Taipei rep to Sweden and Norway, Dharma Sister Judy, and the accountant to Buddha School, Dharma Sister Teresa, and producers for the Geni Diansang Shinten, the Illuminating Your Heart from City ITV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi. Good evening, everybody. How do you do? Today, we performed the deity yoga of Padma Kumara. And maybe you would ask why Grandmaster is not wearing white, because there are many colors to Padma Kumaras, of all different colors. So today I'm wearing red. It's still Padma Kumara. I remember I've talked about this before. At the time of the pure light Buddha, the pure light Buddha, there was a king that's called the Great Wei-De, or actually the Great Majestic and Virtuous King. Have you heard of it? Some have, some have not. So this king, Da Wei-De, was recorded in the Sakyamuni Buddha's life records, that at the time Sakyamuni Buddha was performing a bodhisattvahood in the Saha world. And in one of his lifetimes, he was the king Da Wei-De, or the same as Yamantaka. And he walked to a lotus pond, by the lotus pond, and they, all of a sudden, two lotus blossoms bloomed, and two youths were born from the lotus blossoms. One of them was called the Bao Yi youth, and the other one is Bao Sang youth. So at that time, this king was mulling over the issues of human life. So this Bao Yi and Bao Sang youths told the king, let me bring you to see the pure light Buddha. He would be able to help you to resolve all kinds of issues with the human life. So at this time, the king Dawei listened to the Bao Yi and Bao Sang youths that were born from the lotus to go see pure light Buddha. And the pure light Buddha instructed the king where you came from at birth and where you go at death, and what is the human life for, what you're doing in your life, and how to resolve your afflictions and disturbing emotions. So pure light Buddha taught the king Dawei how to resolve the afflictions and how to cultivate spiritually. So he gained a lot. The king learned a lot. So just now, I recited 3 Padma Kumaras. So they were all born from lotus. So the Bao Yi youth, Bao Sang youth, and Padma Kumara. And they are all lotus youth. They are all lotus borns. So at that era, prior to Sakyamuni Buddha attaining Buddhahood, and Bao Yi and Bao Sang, lotus youth, already existed before Sakyamuni Buddha attained Buddhahood. And in the Donghuang caves, it was also recorded the era of the king Dawei and his meeting with the Padma Kumara. Let me talk a little more about it. When the Adharma Buddha transmitted the Mahamudra of Kagyupa, first he transmitted to the first patriarch of Mahamudra. What was he called? I have talked about this before. All the masters. Do you know? And all the Dharma instructors, Dharma teachers, anybody knows? So Adharma Buddha transmitted Mahamudra to the first lineage guru of the Kagyupa, of Mahamudra Kagyupa. Who was he? Everybody is very quiet. Silence is golden. And that's the Bao Sang youth. So that's Bao Sang and Bao Yi, lotus youth. So Adharma Buddha transmitted Mahamudra to Padma Kumara. That was the first patriarch. I've talked about this before, yes. But how come you didn't say anything? You forgot? Yeah. At the beginning of the Lamdre exposition, I have talked about it. How come are you? The shift heads are rocks. They look like round rocks. Sometimes it's good to look at, but not good to be eaten. So let me tell you, that Padma-Kumara is together with the Adharma Buddha already. Otherwise, how could Adharma Buddha transmitted Mahamudra to Padma-Kumara? How could that be possible? So the origin of Padma-Kumara, like Padmasambhava, he was the second Buddha from Udayana. So think about it. How could he be a bodhisattva of the 5th or 6th ground? Because of all the bodhisattvas who did a total of 10 grounds. Adharma Buddha is the primordial Buddha, and he transmitted Mahamudra to the Bao Yi and Bao Sang youth, who were all lotus youth. That's the relationship. So lotus youths are really outstanding. And I have really seen Padma-Kumara. Can you see it? Can you see him? What I saw was a really, really bright and brilliant white light with no form whatsoever. And Golden Mother pointed to that bright, brilliant, radiant, formless, intangible light and said, this deity is Padma-Kumara. I couldn't see his form. At the very beginning, when she brought me to go to Maha Twin Lotus Ponds to see Padma-Kumara, he was very, very bright and has no form whatsoever. And the statues that we carved for Padma-Kumaras were based on Grandmaster's face. Some of them were based on Grandmaster's face. And some were based on the painting by someone in Hong Kong. But in reality, they have no form. So today we practice Padma-Kumara as the main deity. We all should know that prior to Sakyamuni Buddha attaining Buddhahood, when Sakyamuni Buddha was walking on the Bodhisattva path, he was the King Dawei or King Yamantaka. And at that time, there were already lotus youths that appeared from the lotus blossoms and brought him to meet pure light Buddha. That was long ago. So lotus youth of Padma-Kumara was the youth that were earlier then Sakyamuni's Buddha's attaining Buddhahood. So it's very simple. It can be explained. And with regard to what X claimed about the fireflies in New Zealand that had been waiting for X for 110,000 years, that's even longer time. But think about it. Check your cell phones. How long can a firefly live? You don't consult, but check on your cell phone. The fireflies in New Zealand is a point of interest for tourists, and Grandmasters has been there too. They were like stars, sparkling, blinking. You cannot make any sounds, you can only see. It was really a nice point of interest to see. We were on the boats, and inside the caves were filled with the fireflies. But 110 years ago, were the caves did the caves exist? They've been waiting for her for 110,000 years. That's really long. Especially the firefly live a very short life. They were waiting for her Bardo deliverance. Their souls gathered and said they want deliverance, Bardo deliverance from X. A firefly's life is from 10 days to 2 months. So the great-grandpa tells the grandpa tells the father tells the son tells the grandson, and the grandson tells the great-grandson. Generations after generations, for 110,000 years, in order to tell her that they've been waiting for her for 110,000 years. Could that be possible? And of course, the fireflies can talk to the other fireflies, and then they talk for generations. But the question is, do fireflies have that wisdom? But let me talk about what the Dharma educator Jia Xing talked about. She went to Dharma Sisters Jia Xing's chapter to propagate Buddha Dharma, and someone invited her to stay at the 5-star hotel and took her to check in. And when they opened the door to the room, there was a fly that came down from the ceiling, and the donor was about to take care of the spider, and X said, "Please wait, this spider was a brother from your past life, and it's been waiting for you for a long time." So the donor, hearing that, thought that I, as a human being, did not know that the spider is a brother of my past life. But the spider knew. So the spiritual cultivation of the spider is better than mine. Because the spider had... How could the spider have the wisdom to know that this person that's coming is a brother from the past life? Through spiritual cultivation. So this donor thought of this already at that time, that I'm worse than the spider. So think about it, that the human being, the person does not even know or did not even know that the spider was his brother from past life. But the spider knew that he was his brother from the past life. So now I'm asking, does spiders have such great paranormal power to know that this person is his brother from past life? So recently I painted a spider and a duck, and the duck was about to eat the spider. And I wrote a few words. The spider said, "Please don't eat me, because I am your mother from past life." I painted this painting, so please raise your hand if you saw it. And several masters saw the painting. So it's, what a joke. So, if you think about it, you would know. How could the spider cultivate spiritually so well that the spider could recognize the brother from his past life? And the human being cannot recognize the spider. So if the spider could recognize that this person was his brother from past life, then his spiritual cultivation must have been very high. So there's a problem here. So that's why you want to be able to explain things logically, and things have to make sense. And she could talk to all things. Very simple. We have many flies at the Li-Chang temple, at the dining room there. And the fly, one fly, talked to her too. Very simple. You need to explain it. You came to Seattle Li-Chang temple and went to the dining room of the temple, and then we would serve lobsters, fish, shrimps, which flies like, and the flies would come, and then we would like to ask you to tell the flies to line up. And after you ask the flies to be in line and ask them to march, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then turn right, and then forward, backward. If you could do that, then all of True Buddha School, True Buddha Foundation, and Grandmaster will take refuge in you. So it can be tested. What she said at the Yan Zi Tang, that the animal llama, like a llama, that exists in Australia. So smaller than horses. It's her disciple of 3,000 years. So her follower can ask the Lama, please nod your head if you understand X words. Or lift up the 2 front legs. Or you can talk to the kangaroo. Easier. So the 2 feet on the ground and 2 arms lifted up and boxing. And then if we see that, then we would accept you, and we would bow and take refuge in you and learn how to talk to the animals. But there's no use, because the animals cannot teach us Buddha Dharma, and they don't understand Buddha Dharma even if we tell them. So this is very simple. You want to be the marvel of the world, and you can show it to all the people in the world. You can ask the animals to line up, to stay in line, and then to march and to go backward and forward. It's like in Taiwan, it's like the lady who shepherded the ducks during the era of the king, the Emperor Kangxi. So, if you train your skills to communicate with animals, actually, it's quite easy, and we will find it incredible. Like Padma Kumara, long ago, at the era of the king Dawida, there was already Padma Kumara. And the Padma Kumara that Grandmaster saw was really bright and brilliant light with no form. And that was a true vision. And then the Lotus Youth transformation, that's Bao Yi and Bao Sang youth, it was already recorded in the Jataka of Sakyamuni Buddha, of all the lives of Sakyamuni Buddha. And for Mahamudra, Adharma Buddha first transmitted to Bao Yi youth and Bao Sang youth. So today, because we practice Padma Kumara, I've talked about Padma Kumara. And Padma Kumara is truly precious, not just like what you claim to be Bodhisattva of the 5th or 6th ground. And today we will continue to expound on Lamdre. Decided and determining and selecting the fundamental continuum. Like the root of a big tree, it grows the branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. So if one doesn't stride toward this path, then all results in the cause and effect of rebirth. However, if one has the affinity to encounter the skillful means of Buddha Dharma, say like the leaves, one will attain a lower career of tranquility and stoppage. Or say like the flowers, one will attain the 8 great attainments of the middling level, or like the fruits, one will attain the supreme attainments of the highest level. It is like the foundation of a tree. That's why it's called fundamental continuum. So what does it mean? It means it's connected, like a tree. Because there's a root, then it would become a trunk. And from the trunk, branches will grow. And from the branches, there would be leaves and flowers and fruits. And here it is classified as the lower level, middling level, and upper level. And the lower level, so for spiritual cultivators, they know that samsara is suffering. They want to cultivate spiritual to go to a better realm. That's the lower realm. Or in this life, you feel you're poor and you wish to become rich in your next life, or to become a king in a palace. And because we have no kings these days, or to become a president. Some people want this. They want to become a president in the next life. So they cultivate spiritually for better next lives. Say to become a president. That's for the lower level spiritual cultivators. But for the middling level, they cultivate spiritually to attain fruition. But they don't generate bodhicitta to save sentient beings. That's why they become an arhat. So the lower level is the level of human and heavenly beings, and the middling level is the level of the solitary hearers or arhats. And the upper level is for the bodhisattvas and Buddhas. Someone asked me, what is a Buddha, what is a bodhisattva, and what is an arhat? An arhat is the solitary hearer, a solitary realizer. So they have realization on themselves. So you would attain arhatship. And what is bodhisattva? Is you are awaken yourself and you also awaken others. So you have bodhicitta. You cultivate spiritually yourself and you also guide others to cultivate spiritually. And what is a Buddha? And is that you are enlightened and awakened, and their salvation of sentient beings are also perfect. So their realizations and their actions are both perfect. That's a Buddha. So if someone asks, what is a Buddha? Is the one with perfect realization and action. And what is a bodhisattva? Is awaken themselves and awakening others. And what is an arhat? Is that they are awakened themselves. Or solitary awakened. So the middling level is the arhats, and the upper level is for bodhisattvas and Buddhas. So if someone asks you, what is a Buddha? Is one with perfect realization and actions. And what is bodhisattvas? Is the one who has realization and also guiding others to have realizations. And what is in our heart is the one that's realized themselves. And they're using a tree as an analogy that the source is the same. Supplemental dharma to the rebirth and nirvana, divided into two, by relying on the body to decide whether it is rebirth or nirvana, or by relying on the mind to decide whether it is rebirth or nirvana. So our bodies are the basis for our spiritual cultivation to attain Buddhahood. You use your body to determine whether it is rebirth or nirvana. Very simply, if you have good looks, good facial look, that means you have spiritual cultivation in your past lives. So if you look nice and kind, that means you have good roots from past lives. But if your face is blackish or pale or colorless or often attached by ghosts, that showed you are unable to struggle free from it. You can't become stronger from the ghosts, stronger than the ghosts. So that's why you're invaded by the ghosts. But if you're strong, if there's a ghost, then you can clench the ghost, and you're not afraid of any ghost. That with bright radiance, all the ghosts would topple. So that showed that in the future you would reach nirvana, that you would have fruitions. So what is the signs of rebirth? At the time of death, you see the ancestors coming to meet you, then that's the end. Then you would be reborn. Or you see lots of ghosts and demons, monsters, evil spirits, or ghosts meeting you, then, oh, so bad, then you'll fall into hell. Or if you enter into a long train, at the time of death, you see a long train, and the train is not straight, it's curved. And then you get on the train and you become a snake. Then you would be reborn as a snake. And if you see a carousel, and the one with like a palanquin with lots of legs, then you get on it, you ride on it, then you would become spiders or crabs. And if a Buddha appears, then you cannot run away, but you have to merge with the Buddha, with the Bodhisattva, with your yidam, with your protector, in order to attain their realms. Only then you would have attainments. So you need to be in control. But if you're attached by the ghost or invaded by the ghost, that means you're not in control. Master Lian Jie, you got a letter from Vancouver, and there are 15 people, and the 15 people receive disturbances. Please don't say which temple. There are 15 people being attached by spirits at that small temple. And not that small, actually it's quite big. In Vancouver, 15 people are attached by the ghost. So because they're not in control. And why are they attached by the ghost? Because they don't have enough yang energy, so the yin spirits or the yin thing can get into your body. Because you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, things don't go well, and you feel that they're on your head or on your shoulders or inside your body or on your legs, feet, or any parts of your body, and you feel their disturbances or interference, then you wouldn't feel good about it. Then you become their house. So it's like, in Buddhism, it's called like you're being resided, so that they take over your house, which is your body. They take over your body, it's like a house. So there are 15 people coming to ask for repurification. See how many people in Vancouver. So it is also a disaster area. They are disturbed by those ghosts. I know those ghosts often run around, not only on the 7th lunar month, and for us we know that the 7th month is the ghost month, that there is a Lao Tai Gong temple in Taiwan, Lao Ta Gong temple. At the beginning of the 7th month, they would let loose all the ghosts, and at the end of the 7th month, they would get them back in and then lock them in there. But now, there are ghosts running around everywhere, all over the world. So that's bad effect. So there are many ghosts appeared in True Buddha school. There are many people that were invaded or disturbed or killed suddenly. Can we talk about it? The one from the Guangxi Leizang temple. Can we talk about it? Okay, Lian Jie said so. Okay. Because Lian Jie said, yes, you can talk about it. Because she represents the True Buddha Foundation. So how many directors of True Buddha Foundations are here? Lian Tong and Lian Yin. And because Lian Jie said it's okay to talk about it, so you should follow. We hope that people from that area go to Guangxi Lezang Temple to practice there, because the Guangxi Lezang Temple can protect people from that area. Because Grandmaster has performed protection and set the ceremonial or ritual demarcation around that temple. And because that temple is very close to the center of X in Taoyuan County, Guanyin Village, and they have 2 huge buildings in that several-acre piece of land. And inside the buildings, she enshrined the 5 heads of ghosts. And let me tell you, there were several neighborhoods around there, and the sheriffs of the neighborhoods, so like the leaders of the neighborhoods. So 2 of the leaders of the neighborhoods talked to each other, and one of them said, "It's really strange, these few years in our neighborhoods, there were several people who died, but they're not supposed to die." And then they asked, "How many?" 5 people. "But how about your neighborhood?" 7. And not old people. So the people that are supposed to die don't die, but the people who are not supposed to die died. So 5 people died in one neighborhood and 7 died in another neighborhood, very close to X Center. And the leaders of these neighborhoods talked to each other and said, "There is no peace in our neighborhoods these years." I don't dare to say who caused it. And how about in San Francisco area, near X Temple, this kind of things happened. Did it happen there? I don't know. She often visited Vancouver, as we all know. So Vancouver also, there are many people in Vancouver who were also invaded by the ghost. So in the Guanyin district in Taoyuan County, there were 2 leaders of the neighborhoods talking to each other. 5 in one neighborhood and 7 in the other neighborhood, very close, next to X Center. So what happened there? Now I'm inviting all of you to come to the Guangxi Lezang Temple, because that Guangxi Lezang Temple is the only clean and bright lighthouse in that area. So I'm inviting all of you around the area to go there to practice. So these are all related. I saw the Dharma educators here today. So let me talk about her story. The Huangdi Lezang Temple, the Emperor Temple, unknowingly there was an earth god deity at the temple. Where did it come from? Please say. It was placed at the center of the Siddhigarbha hall, and she did not know who placed it there. And she said, "Never seen it before." So I asked them to remove it. So let's take the earth god away. So that night, when the Dharma educator slept, a ghost pulled her right arm and pulled it that the arm was about to break, and it was still painful in the morning and until coming here to Seattle. Right arm. The shoulder was really painful because she dreamt there was a ghost that pulled her right arm away, and it was really painful until all the way until she comes here, and then I bless her and kept trying to bless her arm, and now it's cured. So it was painful until now. The ghost was pulling her arm apart. So that earth god. So if you find an earth god statue that you don't know where it came from, please send it to Grandmaster. So Grandmaster will collect them all. Perhaps it came from X, or any earth deity that you didn't know where it came from, or that you knew came from X, please send it to Grandmaster. I've collected many, maybe about 20. So, please send it to me. So I'm like a shelter for all the earth god statues. If through your spiritual cultivation of Lamdre, you can attain the fruitions of the lower level, middling level, or the upper level. But if you don't encounter Lamdre, you don't know how to cultivate spiritually, then you would just follow your rebirth. That's what it meant. By relying on the body, divided into four, the body channels. So the channels inside your body can determine whether you will be reborn or going into nirvana. So you can have attainments, or you can just be ordinary as the mundane being. Because when you practice your central channel, and the central channel is open and flowing, you can transport your mind qi to the crown and to transport it out of your body. Then you will reach either the lower, middling, or the upper level. But if you leave from the bottom, then you would go to the animal, hell, or hungry ghost, and from the navel, that would be the human realm. And if it's for the 5 orifices of your face, then you would become fish. From the eyes, from the ears, from the nose, from the mouth, then you would become animals. The animal realms. And the human realm from the navel. And then the hungry ghost and the hell realm from the bottom. And from the top of the head, then you would reach the lower, middling, or the upper level. See, Grandmaster has opened his crown. I welcome you to touch it, and you touch it once for $5. then I would have good business. No, just kidding. Grandmaster never asked for any money. That's just a joke. So from your body, you can determine whether you would have attainment or not. From your channels inside your body, you would know. This is called the heavenly opening or orifice. If you leave from the eyes, you become fish. From the ears, you would become elephants. From the mouth, or from the nostrils, you would become animals. And if your soul leaves from the navel, then you would be reborn as a human being. Because a human being is born from the navel. And then from the two orifices or the two holes at the bottom, then that would be the ghosts, hungry ghosts or hells. So from the body, you would know where you would go, and the masters would know. So guiding the souls at the time of death is you guide the person to leave the body from the top of the crown. That's like opening the gate to the heaven and closing the doors to the hell, to human realms, and to the path of ghost. So all the other orifices are closed. And the navel or for the umbilical cord, they were all being closed. The only hole that's open is from the top of the head. And this is called the guiding at the time of death. And exclaimed that she could leave her body and soul travel and to guide another person to leave through the top of the head. Grandmaster could never do that. Grandmaster just bless you. It's the same as performing bardo deliverance, but I cannot perform the guiding of the soul at the time of death through soul travel and not in person. No other person can do that. But exclaim that she could do anything. And I said, that's BS. And she claimed that she often went to Mahatma Lotus Ponds to have meetings with me. That's definitely BS because I never saw her. So everything is just a brag. She was just bragging. And when I was in Taiwan, she claimed that she went to Tahiti and saw me wearing short walking on the beach. You know how many days I stayed there? Only a very short few days. I just went there to have my picture taken with the pigs. That's it. Why? Because I said that I will raise pigs in Tahiti because Golden Mother instructed me to go to Tahiti for a very short time and come back. How many people went with me? Sanifa here, she's at the translation room.
另外那个莲花树
And Lianhua Suming also went with me. And Simu went with me too. I didn't go by myself. There were several people followed me there for a few days, a few short days, and we came back. And yet, she said that she traveled out of body to see Grandmaster. But actually, I stayed in Taiwan and lived in seclusion for 3.5 years. So I was in Taiwan and I heard that she traveled out of body and saw me in Tahiti walking on the beach. That was totally made up. They're all
北插七的，他应该是不止北插七的，他北插扎。
She's just total fake. She's total nonsense. She lies. She's just total scum.
他这里有提到中脉通最重要，因为中脉如果通，
And it mentioned here that central channel is the most important, because if central channel is open and flowing, then your soul can leave from the top of the head, and you would definitely have fruition, so you can reach the different levels of the fruitions.
用脉字来
And you use the channel seeds to determine rebirth or nirvana. Body channels is the 4 rebirth channels and so on as rebirth, and the central channel as nirvana. And I have talked about rebirth and I've talked about central channel. If central channel is open and flowing, then you are guaranteed to leave. But if the central channel is not open and flowing, then you will still be reborn. I heard a Dharma sister said, I will not mention her name, but she will write it about it. She never meditate. This Dharma sister wrote that she never meditated. She never meditates. And Australia, Sanmin chapter, the 2 Caucasians, you practice meditation there, and X visited their place. So the one who never meditates was teaching people who meditate. According to what I know, X never knows how to meditate. If you never meditate, how can you have your central channel open? That I would never believe that. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.